All right, here we are. So I'm going to add some, I'm going to turn this into a journal. So I have found some little things that I want to use on it um, that I really, really like. I had been kind of saving for this. So the person that I'm making this for absolutely loves spiders. So I've got this spider. I think it's going to go on the front. I definitely want it on the front. And then, of course, we looked at this the other day. Oh, sorry, it's not all attached. And then we've got some corner pieces. So let me just move this aside. And before I begin with this, I'm going to move it aside. And I just want to take a look at the journal that we're looking at inside the pages, which is from my friend Lisa. And I just want to look at, how it was done on the outside. So she's got it looks like one piece, one same color that goes around. Um, I think it looks like this piece like would stop here underneath, and then this next piece will go on top. So that's how we'll end up getting these layers. I did notice too that she didn't put them right up on the edges, which makes sense. For mine, I am going to put something on the edges. So when I attach it, it is all going to be one color on the outside. So when I attach the front portion, this does look like it goes all the way through the whole front. So we'll do that. We'll glue it on, and we'll start there. We'll start with the gluing of the paper on. So I had this little teeny brush, and I'm like, no, I need a bigger brush. Now this is, you use what you have. This is junk journaling. So I'm going to use a nice big brush to get the glue on, and I'm going to use my tacky glue. I'm using Aleene's, and I'm also going to use Mod Podge to get this on, because we're doing paper on paper, and Mod Podge always works well when doing paper on paper. So, all right, so I'm going to move this aside, and I'm going to get this little bugger back out. All right, so I've got my ruler, I've got some scrap paper and a pen. I'm going to do some measuring here so that I can cut my paper so that it will fit on top nicely before we start adhering it. So based on those measurements or what we just did, obviously we want it to go over a little. You can actually see this little groove here. So so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, I'm going to add an extra inch. I can always cut it down if I need to on all the sides so that I can fold this inward. So I'm going to start with this measurement here. And so this is going to be my front left. Front left measures. All right, we'll do the height first because that's going to be the same for all of them. Put that right on the inch. So we are at right about 6.5 inches, give or take a millimeter. So I'm going to call that, now I want to have an inch on each side. So I want to add 2 inches. So 6.5, 7.5, 8.5 inches. That's going to be 8.5 inches by, and so for this one, I want it to actually fold right around. I don't know if you can see that there. Good. So I'm going to actually measure it to here, but then I want it to go along the inside of the back here, because obviously it's not going to be able to go all the way around. So I'm going to measure this side to this ridge here, and then, or this fold here, and then I'm going to add another inch onto it so I have it. So that's going to be, actually, it's about 5.5 inches, so I'm going to go to 6.5 inches. So it's 8.5 by 6.5 inches is what I need for this piece. Nope, actually, because I want it to fold over here as well. So I want it to tuck under on this portion. So it's actually going to be 7.5. So 8.5 by 7.5 is that front left piece. And now for the front right piece, I'm just going That's going to give me plenty to work with. And I'll be able to go on ahead and get this covered up. So let's cut it. I'm not using my machine. I'm doing this all by hand. Traditional way. Got my cutter, and I did decide to go with this one. I just love this one. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually flip it over and open up the ruler. All right, so I'm going to rethink this. I want to remeasure this and rethink it, because if I go with these original measurements and try to wrap this part around here, I'm going to end up not having enough. So what I'm going to do for the front pieces, because I do have some extra here that I can actually use here. So I'm actually going to cut the front pieces so that they just wrap around a little bit, right? So that's going to be 3.5 inches. So it's going to be 8.5. So the front left is going to be 8.5 by 3.5. And the front right is going to be, do that same thing. Actually, we'll just measure it here because I just want to, and it looks like there's a lip there, so I really need to kind of work around that. So maybe even more than 1/2 inch. So this one comes out to 6.5 with the lip. I'm going to do 6.5 plus a little extra. So it's 8.5 times 6.5 plus. Okay, now I've got these. So now when I do the sides, I can get them, you know, as close as I can to the edge, because I'm going to be putting something on there. So actually, I'm going to be putting things on here. I'm just going to go with extra measurements, but I think this is going to work out better. So this is 2 1/4. If I have a little extra to work with, or try to make it exact, I think I want to have a little extra to work with. So we're going to go with 3 inches. So the sides, 3 inches by the 8.5. And then the back is going to be that same size, 8.5 by 6.25 inches. So then I'll have a little bit extra, okay? Yeah, that'll work.